Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Helmi.
And I'm Sarah.
And I'm
and
Eva.
this is Jack, Jill, and something
And
else.
Sam.
Janet and...
Okay, welcome to Razorisms.
Yes, and what is Razorisms all about?
Okay, Razorisms is about us taking comments from the web as well as each presenter telling the audience their favorite stories of the day.
It's the best of hits.
Best of greatest hits for the
The
day.
greatest hits for the day.
Yep.
So imagine like all these bands have like 20-year histories and have a greatest hit, but us we only have one day.
One
With
day.
daily
One
hits.
day.
Yeah, daily hits.
So who's
Alright.
starting off?
Okay, Helmi.
We have some comments first
Oh,
though.
really?
Yes, comments.
Well, first we can talk about K-Circ. K-Circ said Singapore hold Olympic alone. Don't think so because we are just too small for the whole world to be here at once. Maybe a share host between Singapore and Malaysia. And what did Nimrod69 say?
Nimrod. That's it. I'm going to be the first local to start a wheat plantation right smack in the middle of Bukit Timah Reserve.
Yeah, I think it's because
of
we
the
did
story.
a marijuana story.
Oh, you did?
Just
On
now.
Razorama.
Yeah,
Well, we weren't
Razorama.
promoting it. It's just that like...
No one said no.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, are you guilty?
So defensive.
No, it basically, they found that like people started having illegal plantations in the States, like on reserves, you know, in public property kind of thing. Like
They have lots of land over there.
they have.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
so-
then even like, and we're thinking whether like M Parks would step in and
I think Singapore is like too small. Like if you
for
start a
for
plant-
marijuana plant or for Olympics.
It does feel too small, but I'm always...
either one.
There isn't enough
Right?
space for a marijuana plant. There is space for...
No, I'm always surprised that like a pocket of space or a pocket of green somewhere among the concrete jungle. You can always find someplace somewhere.
Or if you're in
Below
Hong Kong, you can
HDB
open shop.
flats.
A shop?
How do we jump to Hong Kong?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Open a shop.
Okay, yes. Helmi will first talk about.
Mad About English.
That's right.
Now it's a film that has been talked about by
Quite
a
a
lot
bit.
of people. My friends have seen it. They really like it. I've seen it. I love it actually. And we're gonna watch the video all over again.
Awesome.
Greatest hits.
Greatest hits.
I love English because it's very, very nice.
My name is Wendy. I learned
Oh, my friend, welcome to Beijing.
Mad About English is a documentary about the struggles of the Chinese to learn English in the run-up to the Beijing Olympic Games. Directed by a Singaporean and a former broadcast journalist, Lian Pik, it follows several quirky characters as they attempt to grasp a complex language in a relatively short time. The film opened a day before the Olympic Games and has received favorable reaction from critics and moviegoers alike. One of its strengths is that it casts a sympathetic but never condescending eye towards its subjects. I spoke to Lian Pik when she was in our studios recently. I think a famous director once said that if you are a film student and you're new to the industry and you don't know what to write or shoot, just find somebody really interesting and just shoot it. You're very experienced, and of course you don't need those tricks, but you found like a whole collection of very interesting characters to feature in your film. How did you find them?
You know, it was a huge trawl. I mean, basically, I went to a lot of the libraries. We went to the community centres where they have English lessons. You know, we went to the Chaoyang Park, you know, where they have an annual, you know, Speak English festival. You know, and so the first character whom I found was actually Jason Young. And he's a 74-year-old. He's been studying, you know, English for the last 7 years since, you know, Beijing won the bid to host the Olympics. And once I sort of found him, I kind of found the other characters because they all kind of belong to this little English universe.
If they ask me where can I get to the forbidden city, I will tell them you can take the bus, blah 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 blah.
Of course, when you do a film like this, there's a danger of seeming condescending towards the Chinese, but that was not what came across. Was there anything specifically that you were trying to avoid in terms of tone or...
Well, I was pretty much in awe of the Chinese people and their spirit, you know, because when they really do something and they really set their hearts and minds on something, they really get to it.
Stand! My poor English. I want to change.
one of the things that I took away from the film is that as a Singaporean educated in English, I take it for granted that, that I can speak English, and I often don't realize that around the world there are many, many people who are actually struggling with the language, especially if they didn't study the language, at a young age.
Yeah, I think we do. We do take our English for granted. And I mean, I've heard a lot of people say that, maybe the standard of our English in Singapore might be slipping, because it's been with us so much longer, and we think, Singlish is okay as long as, we understand each other, it doesn't matter. But if you look at the film and you look at how the Chinese have picked up their English in the last 2-3 years, the pace at which they've picked it up, it's pretty astounding. So if our competitive advantage as Singaporeans was because we were bilingual, as you say, from a very young age, learning the language, that's exactly what the Chinese are doing, and they are very hungry. They don't take the language for granted, which is why, they've done so well economically, and now, when they get the language and they master it, it's going to be phenomenal, the sort of change you're going to see.
Hey, what do you want? Forget about it. Do you understand? What's up, man? Put it down.
What's up, man? Put it down. So yeah, he loves Bronx English, so he's been learning how to say it.
Of all people from the Bronx.
Yes.
But some things that she said really made me think about how the Chinese are so fervent in learning English that they're going to catch up with Singapore someday, and our so-called competitive advantage of being bilingual might be eroded. Yeah, because of that. So
that is really possible.
And she also said that she's been hearing a lot about people saying that our standards of English have been slipping.
Yep.
Yes, they have. I mean, a lot of us take English for granted, like you were saying, and we just kind of slip into Singlish pretty often. So, yeah. Apparently, you guys will be discussing it too today, right?
That's right, exactly. We'll be mad about English on Point Blank at 7 p.m. this evening. This is exactly what we're going to talk about, Helmi, about our standards of English in Singapore.
Slipping.
And Singlish, is it necessarily a bad thing, a good thing? But I agree what you're saying about China. I think if Singapore does not step up in terms of, our rigor, in terms of learning English and keeping the standards of English,
and improving our Chinese as well.
Yeah, both, because they're so good at their Chinese
they're
and
already
Mandarin.
good in Mandarin.
Exactly.
So
and then if they're going to brush up on their English, the sleeping dragon is indeed awakening, I guess.
And
Economically
they're 1.6 billion people.
Yeah,
so.
we've got a comment right there from K-Stub.
Okay.
Singlish, I really don't see any issue. Look at US, they have their own personal tone to their English. Then when we SPG have our own, everyone are being heavy whacked upon.
Okay. All right, Casey.
You could have changed it to proper English, but you didn't. You kept the...
Yeah, I got to keep the tone of the comment. So you got to keep it true. Because like Bronx English, put your down. We have our own English,
But it's true. Like in every country, there's a different type of English. Like, there's the Aussie English and the British English and the American one. And each has their own little slang as well. And it's not neither here nor there. So we really don't really know what is correct and what is wrong sometimes. Do you get that?
Do you speak a second language though, Eva?
I speak a little bit of French. Yeah.
On Ellinghausen Island.
I took too many second languages that I don't have one in particular.
So do you speak it fluently or?
No, I wouldn't say I speak it fluently. No.
German?
Definitely not. So English is my one and only language, which I have. So I should be.
So does it scare you sometimes to see like people in China, they speak Chinese so fluently, and then now they're picking up with the English?
It doesn't scare me, but it definitely makes me feel like, wow, I really wish I knew more than one language. People in Singapore, they always complain they have mother tongue classes, and their Chinese is so difficult, their Malay is very difficult. But I really think that it was good that Singapore made it that you have to be bilingual, because it's something that I didn't have
when you were growing up. So that's an interesting point to actually bring up as well. I mean, other people, we take it for granted that we have to learn mother tongue, but other people actually think that it's a great thing.
Okay, actually one of our comments on the web says differently. This is like from Click Zen. I will say that Singlish is something like a true blue Singaporean identity. It is definitely something foreigners cannot pick up easily. Anywhere in the world, when you hear someone speak Singlish, he/she definitely a Singaporean.
Yeah, that's true though. You
so more defining than us having two languages, by speaking Singaporean English, which is like Singlish,
Have you ever heard a lot of like the Caucasians when they try to put in the las and the lace and they
Oh,
put it
yeah.
in at the
Oh,
wrong
place.
places?
So
Right, they
wrong.
go like, okay la.
No,
And
it's
like the
like,
way they say it, it's like,
come on, la.
wrong. Yeah,
Yeah.
come on, la.
Wait, but I noticed actually Amanda's diction is very good.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, like where did you learn to speak such perfect English, Amanda?
I think I just picked it up like on the job.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's another argument to it. It's like instead of
What
speaking
was it? Your
perfect,
schools? Was it the schools as well that you went to?
I guess so. But
You studied in the US, right?
yeah, I did. But I think another point to the argument is that apart from speaking perfect English, maybe it's also like to fit in and to be understood. So Singlish might not necessarily be a bad thing.
To fit in, to be understood, as in to blend with the crowd, you need
Yeah,
to speak the way they
like-
speak.
That's right. So
Okay.
why do you want to make yourself like
Stand out.
or like
Yeah.
try so hard to speak like perfect English?
Yeah, speaking of like English, when I talk to different people, I speak differently. And
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Right?
Code switch.
It's called
Everybody-
ellipsis.
Yeah.
It's
As
called adaptation.
Yvonne will point out it's code switching,
Simulation.
which she will be talking in her show also.
Yes, I'm plugging my show. This is not my show, so this is right.
No, but apparently even in English, like when you study, it's our show. Like
Very
they
territorial,
call it
Yvonne.
Wow. No, they call it like language adaptation ellipsis, where basically when you're talking to someone, you mimic the way they speak. You know, just like I guess when we're talking to, you know, the aunties, you'll be like, "Hello, auntie." You know.
No, but it's sort of, it's the same thing like when somebody comes up to you and they're very fake, you know, they be, ah, la, la, la. And then you'll be like, ah, la, la, la. And then you're like,
Sorry, what's the last thing about
I don't know, maybe I equate.
Was that a different language?
I don't. Okay, anyways, speaking of.
Okay, I do not like the people who like have the transit accent though. You know
Like
the
they
transit
go-
accent?
okay.
They're kind of like
When they come back from a holiday and they have a whole new accent.
Exactly. Go to the
Transit lounge for a
Yeah,
while.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to chill out then.
But they lose it at some point,
Yeah.
right?
No, some of them continue faking it for quite some time, you know, and some people just put it on. Like I just can't stand that.
It makes me laugh.
I just,
And I would just bitch about them behind their backs. I just leave
Oh,
it there.
nice.
I think Jawbreaker actually brings up quite a good point. He says, he or she says, it is sometimes unrealistic to speak to the coffee shop or hawker aunties and uncles in proper English. They won't understand you, so you might as well speak in a way they understand. That's just what Singapore's social culture is all about.
I agree.
I agree
You
totally.
can't say, Auntie, can I please have
a cup of tea? And then she'll be like, say thanks, Sibo. And then, you know,
nice. People play. What are you saying?
And
That's
personally, I think Singlish is quite charming, and I enjoy speaking it. I
love
think it's a
Singlish.
guilty pleasure, and I think it's
like
you
chocolate.
know, we don't have a lot of history. We're such a small country with
Yeah.
very short history. There's not a lot of things binding us. We don't have so Singlish is one of those things that actually bind us together. That's what I think.
Okay, the thing is that we were talking about it on Net Noise as well, right, Sarah?
Yes,
Because
we
we
did.
had this one clip that showed these
onion.
guys. Yeah, they were code switching. They were talking like they were joking
normal,
around.
but they were joking around.
Yeah, and then suddenly they broke into like, okay, you watch the clip.
let's watch
Let's
the
watch
clip.
the clip.
Best friend is hula. I like to eat durian. I'm very poor. My house don't have lelio. My body look like ruler. I'm a size. You're a size? I'm not a size L. I like to go lancing. I see men. Lancing. But for $15. But bank account how much? No lah. No, the LCC, what does it say?
How to read L-I-B-B-O-N?
Levy? Ask me question, what's the number beginning with the letter J? I know zero.
What food you like to eat?
Rambutan.
How to spell Q? Q-U-T-E with a capital Q, is it?
Done already.
Salah, so funny.
What do you guys think? the
Do
butchering.
all aliens have lula for body?
No.
That's what she said, no.
I like it that, we can laugh at ourselves. I think it's fine. I think that is I've heard so many jokes about, Lulian. Name 3 electrical appliances that start with the letter L.
So Lelio is one of them.
Lelio.
Lelio.
And then there's fruits, so there's like...
But this is coming from the
Lulian,
Singaporean, right? So, yeah.
With a pinch of salt, take it with a pinch
She has
of
to
salt.
defend
Yeah,
mankind.
for the good of mankind. What about the Bing?
The Bing thinks that it's amusing, but I'm sure like if you go into the corporate world, I mean it's fine when you're out with your friends and then like hey Lelio. But like for us we sort of indulge in it, but we don't actually take it with us. Like when we go home, we talk to people, or we are serious. We are not like that. So,
but then again, I mean, there are the people who use it as their everyday language. I guess So
and
that is the thing that I think
the
people
disadvantage
are worried
will not apply to us. It will apply to them in that sense because we can always switch back and say hey blah blah blah. But for them, they're sort of stuck in that particular code.
Yeah,
right?
But you guys do realize that English is a very difficult language to master, right? Because
I still have problems.
Yeah, the rules are not as easy or as systematic as other languages, let's say German, for instance. And that the pronunciation, sometimes PH is pronounced the same as F.
Yes.
And
the silent.
Yeah, and they've got...
It's all about phonetics.
Yeah, so it's... I don't know, I think... English has been said to be one of the more difficult languages to master. So
I think French is really hard because that has gender and everything.
It's not that hard actually.
Okay,
no,
the,
but
the gender aside,
gender
the language, the grammar rules are fairly predictable, right?
Yeah, that's
Things
right.
are placed
That's right.
It's like German as well.
I find that Singapore is more exceptions. Like there's a lot of rules that we take for granted that we just know that it's like that because it's like that.
Right.
But in French, it's pretty much quite standard.
Okay.
On that note,
on that note.
Thanks so much, Eva. On that note, we have a short commercial break.
While we discuss, you guys discuss as well.
Yes.
Is Eva correct? French.